Today's the final follow Friday for August. As I've done in previous Fridays, I'm going to present 5 channels that I follow that I find interesting, entertaining, and educational. This week's channels are all kind of miscellaneous channels. Each channel does kind of an eclectic mix of different things. So there's no one particular focus on any of them other than they all make things. That's kind of the common theme between all of them. First on the list is Steve over at rimstar.org. He's kind of a real inspiration for me for my channel when I started. He does a lot of science experiments with household goods. And I think he's a science teacher or was a science teacher at one time. And so his presentation style is very didactic. He's very explanatory in what he does and uses a lot of graphics to do that. But all of his stuff is very approachable. The things that he makes are just from household materials that you can find most of it in the trash. And he makes science experiments and explains the science behind it. So really interesting stuff over at rimstar.org. Next on the list is Tinkernut. He does mostly kind of computer and electronics things, not computers with like PCs, but computers like Raspberry Pis and Arduinos. When he does do electronics, he also has some software stuff using like open source software and makes things. He also tears things apart like CD drives and reconfigures them and makes new things out of them. So a lot of heavy emphasis on computers and electronics, but kind of hacking things together and putting together new things. Pretty interesting stuff there with Tinkernut. Third on the list is Dino over at Hack a Week. His channel name has a week in it, and he started off doing things weekly. I think that got a little bit much for him as his schedule got busier, and he doesn't release videos every week anymore. But he still releases on a fairly regular schedule. He does mainly mechanical related things, but also electronics. So his day job, he works for a company that does classic car restorations, and his background is in mechanical, is as a mechanic, and so a lot of his things have more of a mechanical bent to them. But he also does a lot of electronics things, little tiny robots, and even other things. He made some wedding rings on his channel too. So it's kind of an eclectic channel with a heavier emphasis on mechanical systems. Next on the list is James. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. James Bruton or Bruton, something like that, over at X Robots, and he does a lot of 3D printing, making robots and other things using 3D printing and electronics, building mechanical systems. He does a lot of cosplay things, and so he makes like Iron Man suits that have helmets that open and have all kinds of things that actually work and function, and integrating electronics and mechanical systems into the things that he's making. Fun stuff over there. Next on the list is Ben Krasno over at Applied Science. His stuff is more inspirational than probably approachable by most people. He does some pretty high-end stuff with a lot of science-y type things. As an example, the first I learned of him was reading about him on some article where it was talking about him building his own electron microscope. Yeah, he built his own electron microscope. That's the type of stuff that he does. So pretty high-level science-y type things, a lot of chemistry, a lot of like milling pieces and parts for what he's working on. So it's you have to have a pretty high-end workshop to do the type of stuff that he's working on. But it's still very, very educational and inspirational. And last on the list is Colin Furs. If you're not familiar with Colin, he's a hoot. He is very entertaining, if nothing else. But he used to be a plumber, and so his fabrication skills are pretty remarkable, actually. He doesn't come across as that way, just in his style, but you look at his work, and he's actually a pretty good craftsman. But he makes all kinds of outlandish things. like taking a tuk-tuk and putting a 200 horsepower motorcycle motor in it with servo-controlled paintball guns. Things like that. Pretty wild. Has a lot of fun on that channel. So that's it for this Follow Friday. Until tomorrow, go make something. Perfection's not required. Fun is.